Welcome to Ronathan Plays and Probes, where I bring you tabletop commentary with insights, analysis, and opinions. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. Alrighty folks, a bit of a different video for you here this week. I'm going to do what's called a Teach the Tech. Okay, I'm going to show you my team that I ran this past Saturday, August 22nd, at the UK Games Expo, which was presented by the Ministry of Dice. Thank you again to the boys out in the UK for putting on a tournament. We had 27 participants. I finished 6th place, went 3-2, so it was a blast. I had a lot of fun, and I'm going to show you how my Gamora Rush Team worked over there. Now, there is one slight difference for the tournament. Andy from the Ministry of Dice put out this gauntlet challenge to try and say like, hey, can you run something a little off meta besides the Becky Lynch meta and the Becky Lynch card, that's the meta one, and the God Catcher. So I actually ran a different Becky Lynch because I just wanted to use the global only and seeing if my team can win with just that. But for the purposes of this video, I have how I designed this team around, which was to have the main Ireland Overcrush re-rolling Becky Lynch in here. So I'm going to show you ideally how I would want each turn to go if everything was going to go my way as expected and how it could work. And then at the end I'll talk about like some contingency plans. Because everything doesn't go according to plan. But ideally, if you can get this going, this is how it would work. And I got it to pop off a few times, and I had a couple of turn 5 kills, and it was pretty fun and great. All right. So first things first, you're always going to want to what's called reconnoiter your opponent, see what their win con is, and go from there to see how you can get to your win con faster or possibly stop their win con. So looking at my opponent's team, if they have a Becky Lynch, I'm going to make sure that I purchase Poison Ivy first and have her ready so that way that Overcrush damage won't be dealt to me and they can't use that Booker T and Jerry Lawler combination on her. If my opponent has God Catchers, the first thing I want to do is purchase a Yellow Lantern Ring and make sure that that Yellow Lantern Ring is going to cycle, which you're going to see, which was my first purchase on these turns. And then the next thing that you're going to see is basically me buying like Jubilee because like, hey, I need to rush my opponent because they're going to be faster than me, so removing their pieces from the field isn't going to matter. So I would end up purchasing a Jubilee first. But ideally we want to thin our bag out. We want to get as many sidekicks out so that way we can draw as many of our pieces that we want. Okay, so turn 1 comes, and ideally I would like to roll 2 sidekicks and to have 2 energy so that way I can get that Yellow Lantern Ring out here into my use pile. So field, Yellow Lantern Ring out in the use pile. Now we're ready for turn 2. Because by turn 3, I want to make sure that I roll 7 dice. How am I going to roll 7 dice? Well, I'm going to roll something like this on my turn 2. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to Becky Lynch over a Yawning Portal. So that'll go over here. And then I'm going to walk with Elias. So now I have 2 sidekicks in my prep area along with my Yawning Portal, and then now these 5 dice will go into my bag, and my bag is going to be represented by this blue bag right here. Okay, so I have my bag right here, and ideally I would not want to draw this Yellow Lantern Ring. That is what I'm hoping for, that I don't draw this Yellow Lantern Ring because I want it to go off actually on the next turn. So here we go. I have my 5 dice, my 4 dice that I drew, and I'm going to roll. And I end up getting 2 sidekicks, which is what I need. I end up getting the Yawning Portal. Ooh, I got a question mark and a bolt. All right, so I got to reroll and make sure that I get a combination of a fist, bolt, and question mark. And I got that, and I got my question mark. That is good. All right, so now on my turn 3, I'm gonna engage the Yawning Portal, and every time I field a character, my purchase cost is reduced by 2 less, and it goes directly into the bag. So 1, 2, everything is reduced by 2, and now we want to get that rush going. All right, so we're going to buy 2 Gamoras. They automatically go right into the bag. Then we're going to buy 2 Jubilees. They're going directly into the bag. Notice my bag has 5 dice. I only want 4 dice in my bag, but if I'm gonna have 5 dice, and as long as I can get 2 Gamoras in there for when there is 5 dice, and that there's 3 bolts in there, I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to draw my everything in my use pile by the end of during my next turn. So now we come to the draw step, and I end up drawing all this. So the first thing I'm going to do is now we're going to engage the rush. So this is now turn 4. All right, so now this is how rush is going to work. Rush is going to check, since she's going to check for bolt dice, not bolt characters, but bolt dice. And guess what? That yellow lantern ring is 1 bolt dice, so therefore I get to draw this Gamora. And now guess what? I have another bolt die that I had in my bag, so that's going to allow me to refill my bag and draw again. And it's a sidekick this time. Now I'm going to engage the next bolt character, or the next bolt die, which is this Jubilee, and allows me to draw another die. So we're good, we're done, right? Actually, we're not, because guess what? I have this other Gamora, and this other Gamora is going to check all these other dice that were drawn, because this is still all part of the clear and draw step. So I get to draw 1 again. I get to draw another. And then I get to draw another. Now guess what? If I actually had more characters in my bag, I would be able to check this Gamora and draw again, and then check this Gamora and draw again, and so on. And this is how this bag has now just become empty. So then I will now begin my rolling process. I'm looking for that yellow lantern ring, and I'm looking for that yawning portal to go off, so that my characters are free to field. So there we go. We got that. We got 1 Jubilee. We got 2 sidekicks, which is good, but we want energy from our sidekicks. We got the fist. We're going to leave that. We're going to keep that Gamora there. Good. So then we want to keep that bolt. And we want to re-roll these. And let's see what we can get. Maybe get a couple of fists and a question mark. And we got Jubilee that came up. That's good. We had our question mark. And we had a shield. Alrighty. So I'm going to engage my my yawning portal for my turn 4, and I'm going to engage my yellow lantern ring that's going to intimidate out my opponent's dice, and I get to intimidate out 4 pieces. This is good. This is what we want. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that I've intimidated out 4 pieces, okay, and I fielded 4 characters, everything is reduced by 4, excuse me, on my purchase cost. So now we're going to go for the win con on this turn, on our next turn. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we are going to want to prep over, or put in, not prep over. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get a Gamora, put her directly into the bag. So Gamora now goes right into the bag. Then we are going to put a Becky Lynch into the bag. Oh, and we got 2 Jubilees, so we're going to make sure that we put our 2 Jubilees into the bag. And there we go. 2 Jubilees into the bag. And now, because I was able to intimidate out 4 characters, most likely I'm going to be able to get some characters through, and hopefully I'm going to get those Jubilees through. So now that I've intimidated out 4 characters, I'm going to move into the attack step. And hopefully they don't have any energy in the reserve pool to static field it back. If not, then that's when you would run Eddie Guerrero on this team, so you can make adjustments to account for that as well. Purchasing of an Eddie Guerrero and so on, but those are contingency plans for later on. So we move into the attack step, and I'm going to attack with these Jubilee. These Jubilees are going to check for one another, and they're attacking with another bolt character dice, so they are going to deal 2 damage, 1 for each. So that now brings my opponent down to 18. I'll go ahead and swing with this Gamora, and let's say they have 1 blocker. They're going to most likely block the Gamora and let these 2 through. So my opponent's going to take 5, bringing them down to 13, because I was able to intimidate out their character dice. So if I can just find the 13, That would be very helpful. There we go. And there's 13. All right, so my opponent is now down to 13. Alrighty, which sets up the draw pool for my next turn. And here we go. I have a Becky Lynch. I have Jubilee. Now, if I would have had an extra energy, what I would have done is I actually would have prepped over that Becky Lynch first, so that way she is out and I can draw out my bag. But we're just going to say that, hey, it didn't go that way that turn. So now I get to draw my bag and trigger Rush. So here we go. Becky Lynch is out of the way because she doesn't count towards Rush. So we will trigger Rush once, and we happen to draw a sidekick. We'll trigger Rush twice, and we happen to draw a Jubilee. Trigger Rush again, we draw Gamora. Now guess what? The whole process is going to start all over again. Check once, sidekick. Check twice, another sidekick. Check for the third time, Yawning Portal. Yawning Portal checks Gamora and draws the Jubilee. Jubilee checks Gamora, draws the Yellow Lantern ring, and then I would start this whole process again if there were more dice in my bag with it. And so now we're hopefully ready to get that last turn kill by getting our Yawning Portal, our Yellow Lantern ring to go off, and attacking with 4 Jubilees. So here we would roll. And we got the Yawning Portal, we got the Yellow Lantern ring, 1, 2 Jubilees. We got 2 Gamoras that come up. Very good. We're looking for anything extra, or we're looking for bolts when we attack for extra. Becky Lynch comes up. Well, let's just say she doesn't come up, and that's fine. Okay? So there we are. Now we got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters that can be intimidated out during this turn. So we'll engage Yawning Portal, we'll engage the Yellow Lantern ring, and attack with 1, 2, or field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 character dice that are getting intimidated out. So now we're ready for our attack step, and this is without the Becky Lynch actually going off, and we can just attack with everybody. Each Jubilee is going to check each other, so there are 1, 2, 3 other attacking bolt character dice, and I get to do this 1, 2, 3, 4 times, bringing my opponent down to just 1 from attacking with Jubilees only. And then that's it. Pretty much at least one of these are going to get through, and that's going to be game over for my opponents on turn 5 without Becky Lynch going off to re-roll any extra blockers that are out there and to deal them 1 damage each. So she can be the closer if she needs to be, but this is how I was essentially able to empty my bag. Sorry for the quality. I've been having, if there's any difficulties with seeing character levels, but this is mostly about seeing the mechanic and how I was able to do most of my damage with just Jubilee's attack alone, as well as the rush ability going off. So let's talk about some contingency plans, okay? What do you do if the Yawning Portal doesn't roll? Okay, so if this Yawning Portal doesn't roll, what are you going to do? Well, hopefully you at least got a shield on one of your things, and you're going to be able to hopefully prep a character. So you can prep a Jubilee most likely if Yawning Portal doesn't go off, and set it up, because then it's going to cause you about 2 turns to make sure that your bag doesn't get upside down. The whole reason why I lost my last 2 rounds was because Yawning Portal didn't go off. I didn't ensure that, hey, I'm going to roll extra character dice. Instead, I think I prepped over another Yawning Portal, and that just hurt me in the long run, rather than the, hey, we're going to take 1 turn to set our bag up for a 2-turn kill. And so what you would want to do is prep a character over, and you would want to cycle through your bag again, so that way on your next turn, when you draw whatever's in your after you finish that turn where you field that character, that stuff will go into use. And then by that second turn afterwards, you'll be able to walk with Elias. Your bag will be a lot thinner, and then hopefully your Gamoras are at the bottom where you can start your rush again in 2 turns after that. If your opponent has a lot of bolt characters, because we have this Scott Hall Global that force attacks and removes pieces. So we're fine with our opponent forcing our stuff to attack because we just want to attack and deal damage. And they may do the same with our sidekicks. If you notice that your opponent has a lot of bolt characters and they're purchasing them, we may want to go ahead and get that Angela to start off this infiltrate ability instead of the Jubilees. So we do have that option, at least, like instead of at the beginning purchasing 2 Gamoras and 2 Jubilees, we might start with just purchasing 1 Gamora and 1 Angela and 1 Jubilee instead. And then so that way, when our stuff gets force attacked, we can just have it come back with infiltrate. Finally, in order for this to go off, this is all about bag management. Like I said, I lost my last 2 rounds because my opponents, they played their matches well. They had zero mistakes in the matches that they made. They played it excellent. They knew what they were going to do. When things didn't work out, they were able to adapt better than I was. But you don't want to get outside of 5 dice in your bag when you have a Gamora and 1 bolt character. So if you have if I have 2 sidekicks in my bag, ideally you would just want to purchase 1 Gamora and 1 bolt die. However, you may have a chance to purchase an extra die. So if we are going to do that, make sure that there's actually either an extra Gamora or an extra bolt in there, so that way if there's a less chance of you drawing just the 2 sidekicks and 2 of the dice that won't trigger the rush. The games where I lost, I had 8 dice in my bag because I just loaded up on the purchases rather than nope, I could have just sat on energy and I was good. So once again, this is how Rush works. I hope that this was informative, and I'll see whatever else I can teach you the tech in the future. So hopefully this has been informative. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.